Okay, let's hop on our family FaceTime call. Hey everyone! Can you believe it? Thanksgiving's just a few days away. Is everyone ready?
Hey, what do I cook first, the dessert or the Thanksgiving dinner?
Hey, what's the best stuffing recipe?
With the stuffing, should I cook it inside the turkey or in its separate dish?
How long do you mash mashed potatoes for?
How long would I cook a 23-pound turkey?
What's turkey made out of?
Well, sounds like we have some work to do, but it's okay. I've got everyone covered right now on MOMCAST. How is your Thanksgiving plan coming along? Obviously, my family, we have a long ways to go, but we're officially a week out. And did you know there are things that we can be doing right now to prep for the big day? And gosh, it just makes it so much easier. Food Network star and mother of three, her name is Kelsey Nixon, has cracked the code on Thanksgiving. She's giving MOMCAST the inside scoop on her popular Thanksgiving prep guide, a countdown to Thanksgiving that will make the holiday just way more enjoyable with the foods that you can cook today, tomorrow, 3 days up leading to Thanksgiving. We have got you covered, giving us all a chance to take a deep breath and enjoy the holidays. What a concept. But first, let's get you started off with your top stories. First up, with Thanksgiving now just about a week away, Gas Buddy just released the findings of its annual Thanksgiving travel survey. Here's what you need to know. Company found that nearly 3/4 of Americans plan to take a road trip over the holiday. That's a 75% increase from last year. Can you believe that? Of those not traveling by car, 10% plan to fly, 87% not traveling at all. Top reasons for not traveling included just not having anywhere to go because their family's all here, or high fuel prices and travel not really being in their budget. I heard that. Well, the good news is prices for some holiday staples are going down. That includes the meal's primary staple, the turkey. According to Wells Fargo, farmers are seeing fewer cases of avian flu, meaning that turkey prices are down about 2% this year. I know, 2%, but we'll take it. You can also expect to pay less for cranberries after a successful crop, so there's some good news there too. But those could be offset by the price of stuffing, which is up 9% this year. So when you head to the grocery store, we do have some tips from the U.S. Department of Agriculture, some food safety reminders for all of us. When you are shopping for your turkey, the USDA recommends picking it up at the end of your grocery shopping to keep it cold as long as possible. Also, you got to check the packaging. Make sure it's not torn because that can spread bacteria. Your turkey can be safely thawed in the refrigerator or in cold water, whatever you prefer. And remember the 2-hour rule. The USDA says that perishable foods become unsafe after 2 hours due to bacterial growth. It's got to be thrown out. And get this, if you have food safety questions ahead of planning your feast, no problem. You can call the USDA Meat and Poultry Hotline. And we are kicking off our 32nd annual celebration of the largest one-day turkey drive in the nation. Listen, the holidays are all about giving. And we're making it so easy to give right there when you head to the grocery store. Turkey Tuesday, right around the corner. We are again partnering with Bashas' in St. Vincent de Paul to help anyone in need in our community. So if you want to be part of it and you want to donate and support our Turkey Tuesday campaign, just scan the QR code right there on your screen. You can donate at the register at any Bashas', AJ's, or Food City, or visit 12news.com/Turkey Tuesday. Our team is going to be out in full force on Turkey Tuesday all across Arizona. I will be in downtown Phoenix with Allison Rodriguez. That's Tuesday, November 26th, hoping to break last year's record. Well, it is a favorite Thanksgiving tradition, at least in my house. Do you watch the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? They have some new floats this year. Check it out. The 98th Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade will feature the Go Bowling float, making its debut this year. It features a fully kinetic bowler and platform that are powered by an electric battery. You're also going to see a new Minnie Mouse balloon that debuts this year. By the way, these balloons and these floats are no joke. Macy's says over 100 hours of work went into sculpting the faces of both Wednesday and Pugsley Addams. You're seeing it right there on Netflix's Wednesday's Feast float. Other floats debuting at the parade include Candy Cosmos by Haribo, Dora's Fantastical Rainforest by Nickelodeon and Paramount, Magic Meets the Seas by Disney Cruise Line, and Wondrous World of Wildlife by the Bronx Zoo. Once you've digested that turkey and stuffing, maybe not, it's time to shop. Nothing better than working off those calories at the mall or even online. And this year, we are breaking records. Even with some challenges, we wrapped up a pretty tense presidential election. We got a shorter holiday shopping season with Thanksgiving so late in the month. Despite this, though, the National Retail Federation says they expect shoppers to spend a record $902 per person on average this season. That is up $27 from last year. And Black Friday alone expected to break records. A new survey from the National Retail Federation predicts more than 183 million people are planning to shop in store or online from Thanksgiving Day through Cyber Monday. Okay, so 57% of those shoppers cited good deals this year as their main reason for shopping. Now, as for retailers, they say they are ready with plenty of staff and inventory. Holiday spending is expected to hit nearly $1 trillion this year. We might have doom spending to thank for that. Have you heard of that term, doom spending? With so many major events happening in the world right now, many are coping by turning to what's known as doom spending, or the practice of spending money to soothe our fears about big issues, including politics or the economy or inflation. Financial experts warn that all this spending can have serious consequences to your finances. They say this whole add to cart approach is a short-lived strategy that can have long-term consequences, and that recent major world events are the big thing driving doom spending, and people are using their wallets to cope. Instead, they recommend putting the screens down, putting your energy into other activities that make you feel good. Still to come on MOMCAST. We wake up at 4 a.m. and that turkey gets going, and then the yams, and the this, and then that. But you're completely breaking that stereotype.
Yeah, I do. And you know what? Call me crazy. I just love prepping for Thanksgiving.
We only got a few days to go until Thanksgiving Day. Between the turkey, the stuffing, the pies, there are things we can be doing today that will lighten our load and actually make the holiday easier and a little bit more enjoyable. Kelsey Nixon, maybe you've seen her on the Food Network or on Instagram with her famous recipe club. She has cracked the code on Thanksgiving Day prep, promising to make the day easier when we follow just some simple steps and a little preparation. I feel like I grew up like, we wake up at 4 a.m. and that turkey gets going, and then the yams, and the this, and then that. But you're completely breaking that stereotype.
Yeah, I do. And you know what? Call me crazy. I just love prepping for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is like my Olympics, right? I look forward to it all year round. It is my favorite meal of the year. Whenever I'm asked what's your final meal, I always say Thanksgiving. Like, I love the food. I really love the pageantry of it all. And so selfishly for me, I kind of like want to bask in that land of Thanksgiving for a while. So that's why I created this whole timeline. Is I thought, I don't want to, because when you do it all in one day or even 2 days, it feels frantic and stressful. And then these people that you've got with you that you care about, whether it's family that's traveled from out of town or friends that are making up your Friendsgiving, it's hard to really enjoy your people because you're so worried about getting everything made for the meal. And so by breaking it down, it allows me to enjoy all of the parts of Thanksgiving that I love so much. And it's kind of fun. It's almost like a little marathon to get to the big day. But everything I do everything starting 10 days ahead. I do a few things every day. None of them take more than, as we get closer, they'll take maybe a little longer, but like what I did yesterday took me 10 minutes. Like, it didn't take that long, but that pre-planning in my head and getting my head in that space of, what are we making? Okay, do I have tongs to serve the salad? Oh my gosh, that's right. I need to get these serving things. Just thinking about it a little bit in advance, just gonna make it so much more enjoyable on the big day.
We're a week out. What should I or what could I have done or prepared?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to show you because
Oh, let's do it.
I'm a paper person, as you know. I like things out. So I like to print my timeline out and keep it in my recipe binder. So I literally have, it's the same one I use every year, and I put these in page protectors so that I can literally cross them off when I accomplish things. I'm crazy, I know. But
Precious.
so we're a
so
week
cute.
out. These are the things you've already done. You've already determined what your menu is going to be. You've already determined, okay, what needs oven space? What needs stovetop? What can be made totally in advance? What do I need space in the fridge for? Those are certain things that are really important that aren't going to overwhelm you on the day. I always like to print my recipes too, because as we discussed, cooking from your phone on Thanksgiving, it's not a great experience. So if you print your recipes out, mine are all here, and you have them in something like a binder, whether it's your regular recipe binder or it's a binder that you have specifically for Thanksgiving Day, being able to cook from a hard copy is going to make that process so much easier on the big day. So we've already decided what we're making. We've already printed those out. We've determined where we need to have oven space and so forth. And then about 7 days before, that's when I make 2 shopping lists. So I make a shop now list and then a secondary shopping list. So I get as much as I can get a week in advance, whether that's grocery pickup, which I'm a fan of, or grocery delivery, or just going to the good old fashioned grocery store. Get anything you can that doesn't need to be super fresh. That way you're hopefully eliminating last minute rushes to the grocery store when they're out of certain things, but you know you're going to go at least one more time. So you've got that list going and you can have that set and ready to go.
What's typically on that list? The things that don't need to be fresh?
So things like if you're going to use like a stuffing mix, like there's a certain brand, Pepperidge Farm. It's what my mom always used. It's what I like to have. They have this cubed stuffing mix. So that's an example of something that I would pick up in advance. My family makes this cranberry salad, which is a retro recipe from my mother's 8th grade home economics cookbook. she has made every holiday since she was married, and like it is no holiday without this, but it has, like any good retro recipe, miniature marshmallows and crushed pineapple in it, along with cranberries and pomegranate and whipped cream. It is so good. But those are examples of pantry staples that, or like chicken broth, or butter, or tinfoil. Oh my gosh, last Thanksgiving, I went to go cover the turkey as it came out of the oven to let it rest, and I pulled out this much tinfoil. I was like, how did I not have tinfoil for this? So little things like that, going through your list and seeing what can I get now that's shelf stable and doesn't necessarily need to be fresh for the big day. Those are some good ones. This is also when I like to start thinking about, is there anything I can make in advance? So I actually always make my gravy in advance. I know that sounds crazy, but I feel like turkey gravy is the most stressful thing because it's always right before the meal and you're trying to get those turkey drippings and you're trying to make the gravy and it's not thickening up or it's too lumpy and everyone's ready to eat and you don't want the turkey to get cold. So I have a make ahead gravy that I make in advance. You can actually freeze it or you can keep it in the fridge for about 5 days. And then I take the turkey drippings at the end and I just warm it together so that I'm not worried about actually making that gravy from scratch on the day. So I make my gravy in advance. I'll make pie dough in advance. If you're making pies ahead of time, you can totally do that. So just going through that list and saying, is there anything that can be made in advance is going to be a huge help.
And give me an example of like, okay, day 6, what are we doing? Day 5, what are we doing?
Okay, so day 6 is when I always think about thawing my turkey. So depending on how big your turkey is, you might want to start thawing it nearly 6 days in advance. And what I mean by that is taking it from the freezer and putting it into the fridge. Okay. Everybody, we've all seen the bathtubs with the turkey, trying to thaw the turkey in the bathtub. It takes longer than you think. So 6 days in advance, I always check my turkey and see, do I need to move this to the fridge now? Because you really want that to be completely thawed before you start cooking it. I always do I'm literally looking at my list here. So
please, yes, I love it.
Yes. Let's see, what else do? I do my round 2 shopping, typically 4 days before. On 4 days before, I call it my prep party. I slice and dice all my veggies. So anything that can be sliced and diced in advance, whether it's chopped onions or it's carrots or celery. I will go ahead and prep my veggies 4 days in advance. I try and see if there's any desserts.
Still to come on MOMCAST.
One of my best tips is actually the night before Thanksgiving. One of my best tips is actually the night before Thanksgiving. I like to completely set the table, because I feel like if you're hosting in any capacity and people come over on Thanksgiving Day and things are not going well on the cooking front, if your table's set, you feel in control. It looks like you're ready to go, even if you're kind of freaking out a little bit. So I always completely set my table the night or the day before Thanksgiving. The table, the plates come out, the silverware comes out, everything like that. The serving platters I'll pull out, and I like to put little sticky notes on them that say, this is where the Brussels sprouts are going to go, and this is where the rolls are going to go. And what's nice about that is when guests come over and they walk into your kitchen and say, how can I help? Because you already labeled those things, you can say, hey, will you take the rolls out of the oven and put them in the bread basket? Or can you transfer the roasted veggies to the platter that says roasted vegetables? And it's a great task to give someone to do.
And it's all spelled out. So you're not having to do like direction by direction. Oh, that's so brilliant. Okay. So what are the things that I can cook beforehand? And what are the things I have to cook day of?
Okay. So let's start with day of.
Okay.
So, and this is actually a good thing to talk about as well, because if you are hosting, please take people up on their offer to bring something. No, don't try and be a hero. Do not try and make every aspect of the meal unless you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
So what I suggest in that regard, as you're divvying things up to people, is you should make the things that are hardest to transfer. Like, don't ask someone to bring the turkey. That's hard. That's too hard for someone to travel with the turkey to your house. So the turkey is an example of something you're not going to want to make that in advance. Now, if you are wanting to go all out and you want to brine your turkey this year or do some sort of salt rub or something like that, you may want to start that early, but you'll know if you're that person and you'll know you need to get started. But the turkey is something you're going to want to do day of. The rolls, nice warm rolls. You don't want to bake those rolls in advance. That's something you're definitely going to want to do in advance, or excuse me, day of. Things like if you are serving any sort of skillet dish, like I have a skillet green bean casserole that we like to do, and that is something that's not going to hold well. So anything that needs to be warm, you want to think first that needs to be made day of. The things, and it's totally just going to depend on your menu. In fact, Emma, hold on. I want to show you, because I did this yesterday. This is my real life Thanksgiving menu that I wrote out. So I've got my turkey, and then I have it color coded because I'm a weirdo. And the colors, you're precious. Say oven, stovetop, and make ahead. So everything that's pink can be made ahead. So I have my make ahead gravy that I told you about. I'm doing roasted root vegetables with a cider vinaigrette that goes on top. So the cider vinaigrette can be made advanced, but I'm going to do those root vegetables on the actual day. Okay. The cranberry salad is pink, so I told you that could be done in advance. Our family does this ridiculous drink called slush that is like, it's just a tradition, right? It's got cranberry and pineapple and Sprite that goes in it, and that can be made and frozen in advance. And then the almond apple pie, I have a small pink line because I like to make my pie crust in advance. But honestly, the best thing before you worry about what specific dishes you should make in advance, you should just write out your menu. That is the most important thing to do. And you may know it in your head, but I'm telling you, write it out, have it visible so that it's kind of like a guide that you can keep coming back to.
You have rubbed shoulders with the most famous chefs on the planet. I mean, like Bobby Flay, everyone at Food Network. You know them and you have worked with them. Are there tips that you can share with the regular mom who's just trying to cook that you think like, man, if you make these changes, that will pay off in the kitchen?
Oh, that is such a good question. Well, I have to say, so Bobby was the executive producer of my show for 7 seasons. So Bobby and I got to know each other. And one of the things I always loved about Bobby is how much he loves Thanksgiving. And I actually think that some of his like he genuinely is obsessed with Thanksgiving. And I think some of that kind of rubbed off on me. I heard him say the line as well that it's his Olympics. Like, this is it. This is our day to shine as cooks. This is our day to do it. And so I always just appreciated the gumption and gusto for the holiday in general. Alex Guarnaschelli, who Alex is all over the Food Network. She's on The Kitchen. She's chopped. She's been there forever, and she's amazing. And one of the best tips I ever got from Alex, and this is in regards to both planning a big meal, a big festive meal like Thanksgiving, or just everyday cooking, is to treat your kitchen like a grocery store. And what she meant by that is anytime you are planning food for a large group of people, you want to take a look at everything you have on hand before you actually go do this massive grocery shop. So you're going to open your fridge, you're going to open your freezer, your pantry, and be like, what do we already have in this grocery store? What needs to be used up? What do I not want to buy double of? Because you certainly don't need 6 cans of canned pumpkin. So if you've already got the canned pumpkin on hand, look before you just go order everything for the big holiday. Not only is it going to save you money, it's going to be better when it comes to wasting food. I waste so much less food because I just take on this simple habit of doing this. And like cranberries, I used cranberries for a job a couple weeks ago, and I just noticed I have a bunch in my freezer. So no need to go buy all these new fresh cranberries for these recipes. I can use what I have on hand. So that's one that really comes to mind as far as a tip for Thanksgiving.
For a lot of us, it's stressful. Like it's just stressful. The timing, the food, remembering everything. How do you just enjoy it?
Well,
Order out.
first of all,
No,
I just want to validate that it is stressful, and it's even stressful for someone who loves Thanksgiving as much as I do. But I am telling you that taking the time, even if you're not a planner, even if you're like, no, I am not type A, this is not the way I operate, I just like to cook from the hip. If there's any time to make a plan when it comes to cooking a meal, it is Thanksgiving. So for me, I think it's all in the planning and the preparation. That is the best way to relieve the stress. And even if it's 3 days in advance or 5 days in advance, and you're like, I'm already 6 days behind the prep. No, you're not. You are just fine. But taking the time to sit down, write it out, don't make a plan in your head. You're going to physically write it out, and then you're going to put it somewhere that it's visible and accessible. I think that is the most important thing you can do. I also think I want to remind you that you should ask for help. No one should ever make Thanksgiving dinner all by themselves. So if it feels like that is falling on your shoulders and no one's offered to help, you know who's going to help? The local bakery.
Hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. As for me, I just ordered my 5 pies from a local bakery. That's the kind of Thanksgiving that we're going to have. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching MomCast. We will see you next week.